Hello, welcome back, and thank you as always for joining me here. We're going to take a look today at an idea that you may be very familiar with, and it's the title for today. As you see him, you see yourself. As you see your brother, you see yourself. As you see him, so you see yourself. As you treat him, so you treat yourself. As you think about him, so you think about yourself. So, this idea, or some other similar combination of words, is not unfamiliar to most of us. What we want to do today is talk about it in the context of this course and talk about why this idea is true and why it's so important that we accept it as true and act accordingly. Because it's true that for the most part, most of us wouldn't willingly attack and condemn ourselves. When you think about it, when you go off and judge and blame and see your brother as an idiot, a fool, or worse than that, you wouldn't willingly accuse yourself of the same thing, would you? We're talking in general terms here. And almost all the time, our answer would be no, I wouldn't call myself a complete idiot. I wouldn't call myself a bigot, a fool, incompetent. I wouldn't call myself what I call this other political party. I wouldn't call myself a liar, a cheat. Use expletives if you want to, right? Because this is what we think, whether we say something or type something out in the comments in our social media feeds or not, we're thinking it, right? When we judge, would we judge ourselves the same way? Food for thought, right? So we've moved on to another section of the text, chapter 8, section 3, entitled The Holy Encounter. So every encounter with your brother, in other words, any encounter with anyone at any time, anywhere, any encounter has the potential to be called what we here in the course refer to as a holy encounter. Another way of looking at this is every single encounter with someone is an opportunity for salvation on a platter, a silver platter. It's an opportunity for awakening that we'd be very kind to notice and would be very kind indeed to act under the guidance of our inner teacher and give the encounter over to him. As we see our brother, we see ourselves. As we think about our brother, we think about ourselves. Why? Your brother is you. In popular spirituality around the world and in many traditions, people are fond of bandying about the saying, we're all one love, things like that. And that is true. Here's why. There is no separation of any kind. The separation, any perceived separation, is a dream. It is an illusion, like a passing cloud. It's not real. There is no separation of any kind, so of course your brother is you. Of course. Of course, as you think about him, you think about yourself. Who else would you be thinking about? There is no separate other. So we're invited to extend love, to do the will of God, because it's our will too. Our holy function here as the Son of God is to extend God's fatherhood by placing no limits on it, by extending love. Forgiveness, the miracle of forgiveness in the present moment is so important here. What's going on is we're acknowledging that the separation never took place, and we're extending love to what or who appears to be an outside image. In fact, there's not outside. Your brother's not outside of you. Your brother is you. Would you extend love or condemnation to yourself? In many spiritual traditions, including the ones that I was raised in, we were invited to do pretty much the same thing without the background of the truth that there's no separation of any kind. We were invited to extend love and compassion and forgiveness to our brother, to be a good person, because it is what Jesus would do. Oh, of course it is. Isn't it? Of course it is. Non-judgment, yeah. Extending love. We were invited to do it just because it made you a good person. What was missing was the simple statement that there is no separation of any kind, and your brother is you. And he is you. If you're just tuning in for the first time, what we're doing here is we're using the word brother to refer to every single living thing. Yeah. Nothing less. We are the Son of God, singular. There is only perfect oneness, and we're to extend God's fatherhood, the kingdom, by placing no limits upon it. Your mind is unlimited. Unlimited. So place no limits upon it. Place no limits upon it. Here in the world, that's exactly what we do. We parse ourselves out and we run and hide inside this 80% water thing. We think we're hiding inside it. It's an illusion, but we're not able to hide from ourselves at all. There's only perfect oneness. So here in the world where we don't get it, we need to have these ideas reinforced. Well, hence this video that you're watching. So at some point, something is going to be said that really clicks with you that you were meant to hear today. Perhaps I've already said it. Perhaps it's yet to come. But there's a reason why you're watching. And you want to know what the real reason is? I mean, maybe on the surface, it's because you were drawn to it, or you're curious, or you have time. You have 20 minutes or something today to tune in. The real reason is you want the peace of God and nothing else, because that's what we all want. We all want to go home, so to speak, if that's a helpful way of describing it. And we call spirituality a path. We call it a journey, an endeavor, a walk in some circles, right? call it all kinds of things. In fact, we're where we've always been, so we're not actually going anywhere. What's really going on what we call the path is we're clearing the barriers to our awareness of truth. We're lifting the veil, so to speak. We're peeling off the layers of an onion, to use a popular visual image from world spiritual traditions. We're removing the veil. We're lifting it. We're setting the ego aside, one holy encounter at a time. So in closing here, I invite you to just keep these words top of mind today. As you see your brother, so you see yourself. As you treat your brother, so you treat yourself. As you think about your brother, so you think about yourself. And extend love. We have the opportunity to do this in every single encounter, today and every day. So Jesus invites us here to not leave anyone without extending love and receiving it ourselves. Because to whom do you extend love? Yeah, exactly. When you extend love to your brother, you love yourself. When you forgive your brother, you forgive yourself. Your brother is you. Is. It's not like you or similar to you. He is you. And there is no separation of any kind. Okay, so thank you as always for tuning in, and thank you to all of you who have recently subscribed. There's been a number of you, and what we've got here going on in this channel is we've got a series of videos. We're going through the text of A Course in Miracles, and while there are 31 chapters, we're currently in the midst of chapter 8, which means many more lessons from the Holy Spirit to come. So I thank you for joining me. I post about 5 or 6 of these a week on the average, unless I'm traveling. So consistency matters. So we repeat the same ideas over and over again, because as we find out here, especially as stubborn adult learners, we find out that we need the repetition, because it might be the 1000th time that we hear the same idea that it really hits home, and we really have an aha moment or a revelation kind of moment, and we really get it, and we're inspired to put it into practice. So not knowing when that moment is going to come for any of you, I continue to show up and broadcast. So I thank you very much for joining me. The subscription button, if you haven't joined us, is right here in the corner of the screen. That is that little red arrow. Go ahead and click on that. We'd love to have you. And questions, comments are more than welcome, even if you just want to pop in and say hi here. So I welcome that. And thank you so much for joining me. I will see you all again very soon.